When the sun goes down and the day comes to an end, not everyone goes to bed like you. For nighttime is the time when many animals get up and play, especially bats. Bats. To some, they're a mystery.
Creatures of the night, so mysterious.
To others, they're really scary.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared.
But to Kim Williams, from the Organization for Bat Conservation, bats are wonderful, amazing animals that are more like you and me than most people think. Kim likes bats so much, she spends a lot of time with them at OBC's Bat Zone, teaching kids all about the not-so-scary world of bats. Let's join her there and learn why bats are our friends.
My name is Kim Williams, and I am the Executive Director of the Organization for Bat Conservation. Now, the reason that the Bat Zone is here is because a lot of people are really afraid of bats. So we're here to educate people. We're here to show people live bats, and we're here to do educational programs and to answer people's questions and alleviate some of those myths or fears that people may have about bats. A lot of people have heard so many myths about bats that they're not sure what's true and what's not. Some of those myths are bats are blind. Believe it or not, bats aren't blind. There's not a bat in the world that's blind.
Wait a second. I saw that moth. And I can still see that moth. I can see in the dark.
The little microbats that live in the United States, they can see about as good as a dog. But those big fruit bats that live in the tropical rainforest, they have a really good eyesight. Now, before I bring out the live bats, I'd like to ask you guys, do you have any questions that you would like to ask beforehand?
Are bats dirty?
You know, a lot of people think that bats are dirty, but they're actually very clean animals. Bats are about as clean as cats. They're constantly grooming themselves.
Do bats fly into people's hair?
Do bats fly into people's hair? No, that's an old wives' tale. People used to say that bats will get into your hair to get your hair to build a nest, but bats don't build nests.
Hey, look at Stellaluna.
She's upside down.
It does look kind of fun.
Yep, it's true. Bats hang upside down. Hey, I said bats hang upside down, not me. Bats do hang upside down. That's how they sleep. And they sleep during the day, and they're awake at night. Now that's called nocturnal, an animal that sleeps during the day and is awake at night. How much fun would that be? Now, because bats are nocturnal, they have special abilities that you and I don't have.
I think this is going to take a little bit of explaining.
The small insect-eating bats, they rely on sound waves to find their way around at night, and that's called echolocation.
What is that?
What happens, the bat's making sounds, it hits an object like a moth or like a mosquito, bounces back to the bat's ears, and the bat gets a picture in its head of where things are at. Its echolocation is so good, a bat can detect a single strand of human hair in total darkness. The first bat that I'd like to show you is called a big brown bat. Now her name is Cassie. Yes, she's a big brown bat. That's because the little brown bat is half the size. So bats use echolocation to find their way around, and right now she's echolocating. Let's listen. Can't hear anything. This, though, is called a bat detector, and this is something that I use all summer long when I'm outside doing research. When I turn this on, we're all going to be able to hear something hardly anyone in the world ever gets to hear, and that's a bat's echolocation. I think it sounds like popcorn. So let me turn it off. Cassie's still doing it. We just can't hear it.
Let's try to keep it simple, shall we?
Okay, let's keep it simple. Let's go back to the basics. In the United States, there are 45 kinds of bats. And all of these bats are microbats. Micro is a word that means small. So all microbats found in the United States are small bats. Now people ask me, well, Kim, what are bats going to do for me if I give them a place to live? And I say, bats eat tons and tons of mosquitoes. As a matter of fact, one bat can eat over 1,000 mosquitoes every single hour in our backyards. They eat up to their full body weight in insects every single night. That would be like one of you kids eating probably about 20 large pizzas. Is that pretty good? Yeah. Let's give a round of applause to the bats for eating all those mosquitoes. Woo-hoo! Nobody likes all those bug bites.
You get to stay up all night, eat messy food, and hang upside down all you want. It's cool being a bat.
Bats are really important to people. They do some really beneficial things that I think a lot of people don't think of. For example, there are 3 species of bats in the United States and hundreds of species that are found in the tropical rainforest around the world that pollinate flowers. Because of bats that pollinate flowers, they give us a lot of foods that we enjoy. For example, if you like things like avocados or peaches or mangoes or even chocolate, you can thank a bat because they end up pollinating the plants that give us those types of foods.
What kind of flowers do bats like best?
What kind of flowers do bats like best? That's a great question. Bats like flowers that first of all bloom at night, second of all are whitish or greenish in color, and third of all have like a pungent or a stinky odor to them. And that way it's very easy for the bats to use their nose to find the flowers.
Do mom bats, do they carry their babies with them?
Do mom bats carry their babies with them? That's a great question. Depends on the kind of bat. Megabats in general, all the moms carry their babies with them at night when they're out searching for fruit. But microbats, most of those moms leave their babies back at the roost and they'll leave a babysitter with them. And then the mom microbats will go out and they'll catch the insects without them. And they'll come back a couple times a night to nurse and check on their babies.
Do bats fly south in the winter?
Some bats fly south in the winter, yeah. Some bats fly north in the winter, and some bats just hang out where they're at. Depends on the bat. There is a kind of bat that's not found in the United States. It's actually found down in South America. What's the name of the bat that everyone's kind of afraid of?
Vampire bat?
Yeah, the vampire bats. All vampire bats live in Central and South America. There are no vampire bats that live in the United States. Now, vampire bats do drink blood, but they drink the blood of goats, cows, pigs, and chickens, not people. When it gets to the chicken, it uses its front 2 teeth, which are very sharp, makes a little tiny cut, just a little tiny cut, like a paper cut. And the chicken's toe, usually, uses its tongue, and it licks up a small amount of blood. They don't suck blood. The chicken probably doesn't even wake up. Chicken doesn't die, it's not drained of blood, and it certainly does not turn into a vampire the next day. We always think of vampire bats as being big, but they're not. We also think of them as being kind of ugly, and I guess it depends on your point of view. I personally think that you're one of the cutest bats I've ever seen. Now this is the bat that the book Stellaluna was based on. This is Penelope. And Penelope is an Egyptian fruit bat. Penelope was sick as a baby, so Penelope had to be hand-raised by us. We raise a lot of baby bats here at the Bat Zone. For one reason or another, many bats become orphaned. Raising baby bats is actually pretty difficult to do. There's not very many places in the world that do raise baby bats. And what happens is a baby bat needs to be fed every 3 hours, and that's around the clock.
Let's go have some dinner.
We have a little baby bottle, and we put a special milk formula in that baby bottle, and we warm it up. And I have a 4-year-old, Georgia, who is my tester. So I'll put a little bit of milk on Georgia's wrist and say, too hot, Georgia, or too cold?
Too hot.
Too hot still? Okay. She'll usually say, "Too hot, Mommy, too hot, Mommy," until finally she says, "Just right, Mommy," and then I know it's okay to feed the baby bat.
Just right.
Just right? Okay, let's feed her. And I'll feed the baby bat probably about 1 or 2 cc's of milk, which is not too much, but remember, baby bats are pretty small.
I was just hungry.
And then I wrap them back in their baby blankets and put them into their little cage with the heating pad, and there they will sleep until 3 hours later when I hear them crying because they need to be fed again.
She's going to live with us? She's so weird. She's got no feathers. Mom, she doesn't even have a beak.
Yep, that's right. Bats don't have beaks and they don't have feathers. That's because bats aren't birds, they're mammals.
You're birds, and she's not.
I'm not?
Now, like birds, bats can fly, and they're the only mammal in the world that can fly. So let's take a look at a bat's wing. Now, a bat's wing is pretty much the same as our hand. You can see on the bottom, here's the bat's thumb, and then here's all 4 fingers. So you can see that the bat's wing is essentially the same as our hand, except it has a membrane that's stretched in between it, enabling the bat to fly. The wing is just very, very fragile, especially the bones, but if you'd like to know what the wing feels like, gently touch your eyelid. That skin on your eyelid is almost exactly like the skin on a bat's wing.
But if you're not a bird, then what are you, Stellaluna?
Stellaluna is a fruit bat.
I'm a fruit bat.
Now, fruit bats are found in the tropical rainforests of Africa, Australia, and Southeast Asia. But fruit bats are also called megabats, and that's because fruit bats are pretty big, and you can notice that this fruit bat has big eyes, and has smaller ears, and it has a big nose. Another common name for a megabat or a fruit bat is also a flying fox.
I am a flying fox?
But fruit bats are extremely important because they eat fruit, and as they're eating the fruit, they're also eating the seeds. So as they're flying through the tropical rainforest, they're either spitting those seeds out or they're pooping the seeds out, and they're helping the rainforests to grow. Now, those trees are important for us. We get oxygen from the tropical rainforest. We get medicine from the tropical rainforest and fruit. But they're also really important for all the other animals that live in the tropical rainforests, like monkeys and birds. So even though bats look different than us, they're very much like us.
You know, it's not how you look that really matters. It's who you are.
Yeah, really?
Really?
As a matter of fact, bats are good guys. They're our friends.
I wonder how it is that we're all so different and yet so alike.
It's a mystery.
But we're all friends, and that's a fact.
Me and my friend Stellaluna hope that you'll take the time now to learn more about bats. You'll go visit places that bats are, you'll go to the library and check out books about bats, and definitely you'll come visit us here at the Bat Zone.